Today, I'm reacting to your most inspiring gaming setups. Let's get into the first one. This is Caden's setup, a 14-year-old out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Ohio setup for real. His main game is Apex Legends and GTA. His previous setup was just a console setup, and what inspired him to build his current setup is he wanted just to be able to have his own place to play games, and he also edits in Blender, so he wanted to use both. He built the setup last year, and it took him about 3 months to build his entire setup. He afforded his setup by doing digital trading, commissions, programming, and UI design. His dad basically helped him put the desk together. The future plans of his setup is to do some mods for his PC. Since it's a pre-built, he wants to add some more mods to his keyboard and his PC. I mean, overall, the vibe of the setup is solid. Everything seems nice and tidy, which is good. And for 14 years old, man, cable management's solid too. I feel like I'd like to see more personality built with the setup. Like, you have some things on the desk, like the clock and the plant and, you know, the other plants on the floor, but I feel like there's not a whole lot. Maybe you make a little entertainment center and put 2 plants on it and find another place for this one. Maybe add a TV here or something like that. I would rate this as a 6. This video is sponsored by GutzyAiden.com, my own mousepad company. Some of the setups in this video use our mouse pads. So if you like what you see, use the link down in the description to get one for yourself. Now back to the video. This is Austin's setup. He is 13 years old and he's out of New York. His main game is Rocket League and Fortnite, and his previous setup was just a very small TV and a console. What inspired him to build his current setup is me, and he wanted to start learning how to build PCs and stuff. He built the setup for making YouTube videos and getting better at FPS games. He built the setup about 6 months, and it took him about 2 years to save up for everything you see here. He afforded a setup like birthdays and Christmas money, and he built the setup by himself. His future plans with the setup is to get a second monitor and better cable management, maybe a new desk with IKEA Alex Shores and a Linman tabletop, better mouse pad, and a new mouse. Very budget friendly setup, which is nice. I mean, he's young. I love what you're doing with the color scheme, like adding the green on the right and left. I think is interesting. I think a majority of the like the cool stuff on the shelves and things like that is dope. What I'd recommend is maybe getting a second shelf and putting more of the stuff that you have on your desk, like just moving that onto another shelf, just because I feel like it seems like it's taking up so much room on your desk. The rest of the room looks dope. Like, it seems like you've got like a good taste in your room. You got like a beanbag chair and stuff like that. All that looks clean. Chat, I would probably rate this a 5.5 out of 10. Thanks for submitting. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. This is Vival's setup, or Abraham. He is 14 years old. He works at a car wash out of Pennsylvania. His main game is Fortnite and Modern Warfare 2, and his previous setup was a Nintendo Switch with an old desk and an Amazon mousepad. I later upgraded to a Dell Optiplex with a GTX 970 and a single monitor. What inspired him to build his current setup now is me, which is dope. Thank you, Vivels. I built my setup with what colors I thought would look good and what was functional. He built the setup in December of 2021, and he added a few things since then, like a new PC, new mouse, and new monitor. It took him about 4 months to save up for this setup and build it. And some of the brand name stuff he uses in his setup is a Razer Viper Mini and a SteelSeries Arctic 7 and the AOC 165Hz monitor. He afforded his setup from his current job, Christmases, birthdays, and cutting grass. His future plans with the setup is to get maybe an AT2020 for the mic and an audio mixer for some better quality audio, and he plans to get a new graphics card since he has a GTX 970. Off the bat though, I just love the color theme. Doing the lights on the background look really clean. I love that. Also, cable management looking really good underneath here. Also love how you mounted your controller underneath there. Looks really good. Everything is solid, and I feel like there's not a whole lot you can change. The only thing I would say is upgrade your chair, maybe add, you know, some more things that you need. It's in a living room or a kitchen or something like that, so there's not really much you can do personality wise. I think you did a great job of the, you know, where you have everything and the lights and the theme. I would say it's probably a solid 7. All right, let's gonna move on to the next setup here. This one is Rogan's setup. He is 16 years old and he's out of England. His main occupation is attending school, so he's a student, and his main game is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. His previous setup was just the same PC case, but he recently upgraded the motherboard, CPU, RAM, and a CPU cooler, and he had a horizontal monitor and one vertical. What inspired him to build his current setup is tech source and watching setup transformations. He built the setup mainly for gaming and a little bit of schoolwork. He built the setup about a month ago, and it took him about 8 months to save up for everything. He afforded his setup by saving up money that his dad gave him for some of the PC parts, and also just working around and doing stuff. His dad also has his own gaming setup, and he wanted to help me build my own. His future plans with the setup is he wanted to order some Gobi flow bars to add behind his monitors and added some lighting depth between his monitors and the wall. He also wants to get some nano leaves to put above the monitors and some more personality. All right, let's take a look at this setup. Keyboard and mouse combo looking pretty solid. I love the keycast with this mouse pad, really interesting. Cable management could be a little better. Also love this monitor layout. I think it's very unique. I also love this iPad stand. I think it's really cool. I think the biggest thing is like scooting this desk away from the wall a little bit. I feel like you'll have more room just so you could not hit your monitor every time. I do think it needs a little bit more personality in the wall. Like you said, adding some lights, adding some shelves, rearranging the setup a little bit. I would say probably like a 7. A very, very solid. All right, guys, we're gonna move on to the next setup. This is Remy's setup. Now, Remy is 12 years old. He's a student out of Washington, D.C., and his main game is Valorant or Fortnite. His previous setup was just a laptop and a Dell monitor, which he wanted to switch away from. What inspired him to build this setup is seeing people's setups like mine, TechSource, and a couple other YouTubers that he watches. He also wanted to make his dream setup. He built the setup for gaming, watching YouTube, and some schoolwork. He built the setup in September 2022, and it took him about 3 years to build this entire setup and save up for it. He afforded this setup by getting money through his parents that he gets straight A's, and when he saves up from Christmas and birthdays. His dad helped him build his setup, which he helped him build his PC, and we built it together as like a son and dad bonding time. His future plans with the setup is he wants to upgrade almost everything in his PC, more of a stacked monitor layout, and maybe gets a headphone stand. Let's take a look at this setup. Now, the presentation of this setup is great. Just looking at this setup screams just like minimalism and clean. Mouse space, monitor space, the mount matches the mic arm. Having this setup at 12, you got like an empty room, but this also means you have an empty canvas. You could add so many different things, you know, paintings, more shelves, double stack the shelves, add some more lighting, you know, add these like different things that make you you. I think I would rate this an 8.5. Thank you for submitting. So this is Ma Tai Chi. She is 16 years old, out of Norway. Her main occupation is school, competitive Valorant, and a small graphic designer. Her previous setup was just a laptop and a MacBook, and it was very, very cheap. She wanted to build this current setup because she's seen a lot of streamers, YouTubers who inspired them a lot. Her dad also helped her out a lot, and she was very inspired by all these people she watched. She built this setup because she wanted to get into competitive games like CS and Valorant, and my dad inspired me to build my dream PC right before COVID, so I did. I also added small things, a light for my right monitor, and then also when she had to use it as a school desk. She built the setup in early 2020, and it took her about 1 to 2 years to build this setup. She afforded her setup by doing small jobs like being a soccer coach and summer jobs and birthdays and Christmases. Her dad was the main person who helped her build this setup. He's a big inspiration for her, and he's a real COD gamer. We don't really spend much time together, but when we do, it's always about setups or PCs, which is awesome. She's trying to get better cable management and upgrade her PCs. So let's take a look. Already, I love the aesthetic, the Lego vase, which is cool. Just like all the little hints of personality is great. I would say to try to bring these monitors a little closer if you can, but I also like the attention to detail of making your monitors white with some 3M, which is really cool because I haven't seen a lot of people do that, and that's a really cool way of hiding the black strip on the monitors. Yeah, cable management could be better. Like you said, I would maybe mount this power strip to the bottom of the desk and then reroute some cables around. I would probably say this is a 7 just because everything in it is nice. The personality is great. Love everything she's doing there. The only recommendation I would say though is like maybe readjusting the monitors a little bit, new stands, and other than that, I think it's a great setup. If you enjoyed that video, watch this one next, and don't forget to follow the Twitch down below. See you there.